state expedited calendar. This is a list of criminal misdemeanor cases in which individuals were recently booked at the Fulton County Jail. Upon being booked, the Solicitor General's Office of Fulton County, which is the prosecutorial body, they have already accused these cases. Hence, they are bound over to state court, and this would be the defendant's initial appearance before a judicial officer. If you have been booked and charged with certain offenses, please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and we will have counsel from the public and conflict defense who will be ready to represent you unless you've hired your own private attorney. Courtroom 2, who do we have?
This is position 1, Mr. Chambers.
All right. Mr. Christian Chambers is charged with 3 counts of obstruction of a law enforcement officer, and he's going to be represented by Ms. Gant or Ms.
Marie
McLeod?
McLeod, Your Honor.
All right, excellent. Thank
Yes,
you.
Your Honor.
All right, Ms. McLeod is representing Mr. Christian Chambers. Ms. McLeod, please file your entry just to avoid any confusion down the road. Okay?
I will, Your Honor.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so we have Mr. McLeod and a pretrial. May I have his priors, please?
I'm gonna defer to the states.
All right.
His file is with the felony staff. I think he went to felony person.
I see. All right, Ms. Tortorello, good afternoon. Are you prosecuting this matter?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
Your Honor, as you know, in this case, this defendant committed obstruction against officers by getting into a fighting stance, not following verbal command, and resisting arrest during an eviction. Your Honor, as far as risk of reoffending, this defendant has an open felony case, and that's 22 CP 207925 for entering auto. This incident was on November 15th, 2021, and it was filed by the DA's office today, March 31st, 2022. As when he was arrested for the obstruction, he was also booked for this felony incident, Your Honor. The state has concerns as he committed this subsequent offense while wanted for a felony entering auto charge. The warrant taken out by the South Fulton PD is warrant number EW0346777. On his entering auto case, he was also wanted for obstruction. And due to these reasons, Your Honor, it is evident this defendant poses a risk of reoffending, and not only reoffending, Your Honor, but committing felonies while out on bond. So for this reason, we are recommending a $3,000 surety bond, $1,000 for each charge, no weapons, no drugs or alcohol, and no new violations of Georgia law while out on bond, Your Honor. Nothing further from the state.
Thank you. Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 19 years old. He's still in high school. He is in the 12th grade, he tells me. Apart from these allegations, my client has nothing on his record. He is a native of Atlanta. He lives with his mom. He tells me that the incident concerning the eviction was a complete misunderstanding because he was trying to explain to the officer that he still had some important documents in the house that he needed to retrieve. And the officer didn't want to let him go back in just to get his documents out. And that was the reason why he was charged with obstruction, Your Honor. He told me he was unaware. He just found out since he was arrested about this warrant. But he's still in high school, Your Honor. He doesn't have a job to pay a bond. And considering that this is essentially his first offense because he has no prior convictions and his age, he's under 21, I would ask the court to consider giving him a signature bond so that he can get home, get back to school.
The bond is going to be set at $1,000 each. It's going to be a $3,000 signature bond for pretrial services. He'll report to pretrial once a month. He needs to, and this is going to be per judge, he needs to update us with his new address, since I assume he's not staying at Creel Road anymore.
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right. He needs to update the court with his new address within 30 days of being released. If he gets arrested again for anything else, if he does not come back to court, if he does not report to pretrial, well, the next time he's back in jail, he needs to bring $3,000 with him or get a surety bond for $3,000. No further violent contact with law enforcement, and his next court date will be sent to him at his new address, which we hopefully will receive within 30 days. Just FYI, if the marshals are there to facilitate an eviction, once they have removed everyone from the property, you cannot go back in. Just FYI.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. We will see you. Make sure you give us your new address and report to pretrial once a month. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Come on, Mr. Dama. Position 2, Mr. Dama.
Mr. Barkhad Dama is accused of criminal trespass from March 30th, 2022. Mr. Dama, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is Ms. Gann. Mr. Tucson, any priors?
This is second. 2014 battery DV dismissed.
Thank you. Ms. Tortorella, what's the recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor. The recommendation is a $2,500 surety bond, though we're not opposed to a signature bond through pretrial. The conditions is that he stay away from Lenox Mall, located at 3393 Peachtree Road Northeast. No weapons, no drugs or alcohol, and no new violations while out on bond. Your
Okay.
Honor,
Yes, go ahead.
yes, Your Honor. On March 30th, 2022, the Atlanta Police Department did arrest Mr. Barkhad Dama due to the fact that he did receive a criminal trespass warning prior to not to return because he was not abiding by the protocols of the mall about going through the weapons detection system. And so when he returned on March 30th, he had already been given a criminal trespass warning, and he was arrested for criminal trespass. And these events did occur in Fulton County, Georgia, and nothing
All right.
further from the state.
Is it, do they do that for all the entrance, egress and ingress and egress spots for the mall? This is news to me.
I'm not sure how they run the mall, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Ms. Gant, I was going to do a $2,500 signature bond. I just need to verify that he's got a good mailing address.
Yes, he does have a good mailing address.
All right. Bond is set at $2,500. It's a signature bond through pretrial services. He will report to pretrial once a month, and he needs to stay away from the entire Lenox Mall area. Mr. Barkhad, any particular reason you need to go back to the mall?
Yeah, they take my stuff, my phone, all my stuff.
All right. You can
Right.
return to the mall security office one time only with a police officer. You must have a police officer accompany you to Lenox Mall.
Uh-huh.
You cannot go alone.
Okay, I know.
And if they tell you that you have to go through the security detection devices that they have, you have to comply.
I did all that. They just not telling the truth, that's all.
Well, just letting you know, you have to go with a police officer. You can return one time only to retrieve your personal belongings. If they don't have it, or if they say they've given it to someone else, then you cannot stand there and dispute with them. You have to turn right around and leave. Do you
Yes.
understand?
That's the police office and inside the mall, not the security.
I don't care what it is.
Okay,
But if you stand there and you start arguing with them, you can be arrested again. And I'm not going to stop that.
okay. I just want to take back my stuff, that's all.
I don't know if it's there, but I'm giving you a one-time visit for the opportunity to see if it is. If it's not, you turn around and leave.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Your Honor, how much was that amount?
2,500 signature bond through pretrial. He has to report to pretrial once a month and stay away from the entire one-time visit. Yeah. to get belongings if they are there.
Okay, thank you.
Position 5, Mr. Hutchins.
Victor Hutchins is accused of battery domestic violence from February 28th, 2021. Mr. Hutchins, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Wanda Gant. All right, Mr. Tucson, any priors?
34 cycles.
Any prior convictions for DV, battery, or simple
and
battery?
assault conviction.
From where?
2019 FTA for aggravated assault. 2018 failure to appear. Shoplifting convictions. 07 armed robbery conviction. 04 ag assault, possession of a firearm by convicted felon conviction. 04 battery conviction. Yes,
Thank you.
we have bench
Um,
warrants too.
I'm sorry?
He has bench warrants for the shoplifting and ag assault family violence.
So they're open bench warrants right now. All right, Ms. Tortorella?
Yes, Your Honor. As you know, in this case, the defendant, Victor Hutching, punched his wife, victim Lavorne Hutching, and for the record, that's L-A-V as in Victor, O-R-N-E, in the face, which caused swelling to her lip. This did occur on actually February 28th, 2021, at the address of 1110 Hammond Drive, apartment 558 in Atlanta. The victim was unable to contact police because the defendant did not allow her to use a phone for weeks until she was able to call 911 on March 18th, 2021. That's when the warrant was actually taken out, Your Honor. Your Honor, as far as intimidating the witness, risk of reoffending and committing felonies, I just want to point to the court that this originally was a simple battery family violence, and it was upgraded to a battery family violence. We need more information from the victim, and if not, we will lower it back down to simple battery family violence.
Mhm.
However, if it remains to be a battery family violence, we will be transferring to the DA's office. And this is the reason. The defendant has a prior aggravated assault, family violence, strangulation, where it involves the same victim. He was convicted of this on November 4th, 2020, and was to serve 2 years and then be on probation for 8 years. He is currently being held on this without bond due to his VOP. And this is with case number 18 SC 160540. The defendant also has a prior theft by shoplifting felony case where he was also convicted on the same date, November 4th, 2020, here in Fulton County Superior Court, where he was to serve 2 years in jail and 8 years on probation. He is also being held on this case without bond for a VOP. This case is 19 SC 169775. He is a flight risk, Your Honor, and poses a risk of reoffending, not only due to the couple of cases I just mentioned, but he is in violation of his bond order currently from his aggravated assault case and theft by shoplifting case in DeKalb County. The DeKalb County granted him on March 16, 2022, a $15,000 bond. That case number is D0285840, and the case was filed there in that jurisdiction on June 20th, 2021. Your Honor, as you heard from pretrial, he also has various FTAs, most currently August 12, 2019 out of Fulton County, and 2 in 2018 out of Dunwoody. He has also, aside from the felonies I've just mentioned, he's also pled to felonies such as theft by shoplifting and possession of cocaine on April 18th, 2019. So, Your Honor, you get the picture. We do feel that this defendant does pose a risk of reoffending. He poses a risk of intimidating the victim in this case, and he is a danger to the public, Your Honor, and therefore the recommendation is a $15,000 surety bond. The conditions is that he have no contact with the victim, his wife, Lavorne Hutching. that he stay away from the incident location at 1110 Hammond Drive, apartment 558 in Atlanta, Georgia. That he take a one-day anger management class, no weapons, no drugs or alcohol, and no new violations of Georgia law. Nothing further from the state.
Thank you. Ms. Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Victor Hutchins is 50 years old. He has been in the Atlanta area his entire life. He is married to the complaining witness, Ms. Laverne Hutchins. However, they are separated. We are unopposed to the stay away at 1110 Hammond Drive. My client states that no one lives there at this time as this alleged incident occurred in February of 2021. Mr. Hutchins has been unemployed for over a year. He was incarcerated, Your Honor. He obtained a GED. He completed the 11th grade. He denies the allegations. He states that Ms. Hutchins gets angry with him and makes up false allegations. He has not been in contact with her. He does not want any contact with her. He is in the process of filing for divorce, and he states that she has not been responding to any of the court proceedings regarding the FTAs, Your Honor. It is our belief that he was incarcerated during some of the FTAs that have been reported. I do acknowledge my client's history. However, he is presumed innocent in this case, and I would ask, Your Honor, in light of his financial circumstances, that you would grant a signature bond, and if Your Honor is not inclined to do so, then the lowest bond possible. Thank you.
Okay. Just to correct, his last name is Hutchins, ending with an S. So the warrant did say A, but someone had tried to correct it. So we just need to update his case information on Odyssey that is Hutchins with an S. Second thing is, when was he released from detention, Ms. Gant? You said he was incarcerated?
He states that he served 1 year, has been incarcerated for the last year. So that would be, and we can clarify from the client, but he states that he served, he has been incarcerated for the past year. So Mr. Hutchins, may you clarify when you were last released from custody?
I just got released from DeKalb County yesterday.
Released from DeKalb County yesterday.
Yes, I made bond from DeKalb County yesterday.
So he's been in custody for 1 year since March of last year.
He informed me that he had been incarcerated for the past 1 year, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and he was just released yesterday. So see, he's been in custody since March of 2021 until presently.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just want to confirm that. All right. Bond is set at 7,500. It's a surety bond. No contact with Laverne Hutchins. If that location is no longer occupied, then staying away from it should definitely not be a problem. 1110 Hammond Drive in Atlanta, Georgia. No contact with Laverne Hutchins means do not communicate with her directly in person through a phone, computer, mail, computer device, and definitely not on social media. If there are any open pending divorce proceeding actions being filed, you need to let the court know who's got that divorce case that you presently have a no contact order against you with respect to the opposing party. Next court date is going to be 2 weeks from today, and that's going to be April 14th, 2022. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Position 6, Jacoby.
Okay. Mr. John Jacoby is accused of hit and run and failure of the driver to stop at or return to the scene of the accident from March 25th of 2022. Mr. Jacoby, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Gant. Any priors, Mr. Toussaint?
7 total between Georgia and Florida. Last arrest was on the 25th of this month in Forsyth County for DUI. He had a DUI conviction from 2010. The hit and run, he was found not guilty. Last arrest in Florida was 2009 trespass conviction. 2009 petty theft. No disposition.
All right, thank you. Ms. Tortorella, or is it Ms.
Ms. Paul.
Ms. Paul?
Your
Yes. Yeah, good
Hi.
afternoon.
Your Honor, the state's recommendation in this case is a $3,000 surety bond.
Oh,
We
I
are,
lost your, I
Yep.
lost your audio. I lost your audio.
3,000, my apologies, a $3,000 surety bond. We are also asking for no driving, as well as no weapons, drugs, or alcohol. The reason for the state's request for a $3,000 surety bond is the fact that we do believe the defendant does present a risk of reoffense and a danger to the general community. In this particular case, he essentially struck another vehicle and then fled the scene on March 25th, 2022. If that date sounds familiar to you, Your Honor, it's because it's the same date he was arrested in Forsyth County on his DUI. So what occurred is, from what we can piece together, is he had a hit and run in our county and then proceeded to pick up on the same date as the hit and run a DUI over in Forsyth County. When the troopers arrived in our case, they did speak with the victim. The victim was able to identify the defendant based on his his license plate, as well as a description of the driver, which they were then able to match with his registered owner information. When they did contact him, he declined to submit himself to law enforcement, which is also a concern for the fact that we are concerned he is a flight risk, because when the officer asked him to come, he declined to meet with them. The officer then had to issue a warrant. And additionally, he admitted to the officer that he had struck the vehicle and then fled the scene. So between fleeing the scene, refusing to submit himself to law enforcement, and the fact he was additionally picked up on this DUI, we do have concerns regarding his risk of reoffense, as well as him being a flight risk. I understand he does have a record out of Florida, although it is his last arrest out of there is 2009. He then picked up a 2012 DUI conviction here, now has a pending DUI case here, and a hit and run on the same date. And for those reasons, we are asking for the $3,000 surety bond.
All right, and just to clarify, it's one charge, hit and run, failure of the driver to return scene of accident.
That is correct. We did not charge him with DUI because he was not at the scene, so we could not test him to find out if he was driving while intoxicated.
All right, Ms. Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. John Jacoby is 40 years old. He has been in the Atlanta area over 10 years. He is married and has been so for the past 6 years. He shares a 10-year-old child with his wife. Mr. Jacoby completed high school. He is gainfully employed at UPS Capital. He has been a licensed insurance agent with this company for the past 3 years. Mr. Jacoby disputes the allegations, Your Honor. No, he denies the allegations. He states that, in fact, he was actually rear-ended from behind. He denies striking another vehicle. He states that he was cooperative with police. He turned himself in. We are requesting a signature bond for Mr. Jacoby. If Your Honor is not inclined to grant a signature bond, then I would request a bond of no more than $1,000. We are opposed to the no driving condition. That DUI case is open. He is presumed innocent in that matter. And what I heard from pretrial is that he had a DUI in 2010 and was found not guilty. Regarding the state's contentions that he's a danger to the community, again, I would remind the court that he turned himself in to defend against this charge. Regarding flight risk, we did not hear about any FTAs whatsoever, Your Honor. And again, for these reasons, I am requesting the signature bond and that you not impose any driving restrictions. Thank you.
All right.
And Your Honor, if you may just correct the record, I am looking at his GCIC. I don't know what Ms. Gant heard, but pretrial and I are in agreement. He was convicted of that DUI in 2012. I'm looking at the disposition on his GCIC. So it's not guilty. It's in fact a very guilty.
The 2010 one I heard was not guilty.
Right. There was a 2010. His conviction was September 10th, 2012.
Mhm.
And he was found guilty.
Well, pardon me.
Now, the hit and run.
Hang on.
The hit and run portion of the case, he was found not guilty, but he was actually convicted on the DUI.
That's what I thought I heard, but Mr. Tucson, could you please clarify that?
The 2010 DUI was a conviction. He was acquitted for the hit and run.
So that's what I heard. Ms. Gant?
I do apologize for
No, that's quite all right.
Right.
That's quite all right. No worries. Okay. On the hit and run, failure of the driver to return to the scene of the accident, that's a $2,500 surety bond. No driving, no operating a moving motor vehicle unless you have the requisite driving privileges from a ALS hearing. So hopefully if you do have an administrative hearing before the Office of State Office of State Administrative Hearings. Yeah, so to make sure I got that title right. If they do grant you limited driving privileges in accordance with an ALS hearing, then you can drive. But right now, you can't drive until you get an order saying you're allowed to do so from OSA. Do you understand, Mr. Jacoby?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. If you do make bond, we will send notice to your next court date. Otherwise, your next court date is April 14th, 2022. While you are out on bond, no alcoholic beverages, no illegal drugs, and no driving unless you have privileges from an ALS hearing. Thank you.
Position 8, Mr. Pratt.
Your Honor, may I have the position's name that was just called?
Mr.
Sorry,
Pratt.
it is actually, I am the one who's defending. I'm sorry about that. I could not find the unmute button for some.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, sorry about that. Let me just get these out of the way. Okay, and Ms. Kim, your case involving the Spanish interpreter, who would that be?
That is Sansei Nancy.
Okay, so we have to wait till the we get to Union City. Okay.
Yes.
So position number 2, we have Mr. Pratt, who is position 8, Alex J. Pratt, accused of 1 count of simple battery, 1 count of simple battery domestic violence from a March 22nd, 2020 incident. Mr. Pratt, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Kim. Mr. Tucson, any priors, please?
Third arrest, 2018, day to appear, 2018, driving without a valid license. Reduced to unlawful use of license.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Falk, is it?
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Oh, Ms. Mitchell, okay. So I'm trying to see who's open. Ms.
Yeah, no
Mitchell,
problem.
What is the state's position on bond?
Our recommendation is going to be as to count 1, a $2,000 surety bond, count 2, $2,000 surety bond, totaling a $4,000 surety bond, along with the note for the contact with both victims. Chidera, spelled Chiderah, Balik, spelled Mbaleke, and Jacqueline, spelled Jacquelyn, Walton, common spelling. Stay away from the address 1031 Creekside Way, Roswell, Georgia, in a 1-day anger awareness course, and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. As Your Honor is aware, the defendant battered his ex-girlfriend he lives with from time to time, Miss Balik, by striking her in the face with an open hand and grabbing her by the throat in an attempt to choke her or strangle her. The defendant also battered Miss Walton by striking her on the side of her head with an open hand. This happened on the day of the incident. The defendant was staying at Miss Balik's residence. The defendant wanted her to come to his room to talk to him. Instead, she spent time with her friend, Miss Walton. That made the defendant upset, and he ended up following them into her bedroom. That's when the defendant pushed Miss Balik toward the bed and struck her. The defendant then grabbed her by her throat and attempted to hit her again, but Miss Walton was between them. So instead, defendant struck Miss Walton on the side of her head. Both victims, as your honor is aware, were able to run into the bathroom and barricade themselves. The defendant tried to get into the bathroom, but Miss Walton had her phone and was able to call 911 for help. So based on the nature of these allegations, we are recommending the $4,000 surety bond, your honor. Nothing further.
All right. Any contact with the alleged victims?
Your honor, our victim advocate wasn't able to make contact with them. There wasn't contact information listed based on the information we have.
And before we move on to Ms. Kim, Deputy Francois, I'd like Mr. Pratt to lower his mask. I just want to make sure I've got the correct person. Okay, we're good. Please put your mask back on. Thank you. All right. All right, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident actually happened on March 22nd, 2020, almost 2 years ago. And my client says that this actually never happened. He did not live there. He was kind of shocked by this allegation. Anyway, when he was even visiting police for another matter on Roswell, Georgia, this never came up. Anyway, the pretrial service actually recommended him for unsecured judicial relief, which means signature bond, please. He says that the location that incident happened is actually burnt down, and his ex-girlfriend moved to New York, and he actually had no contact whatsoever with ex-girlfriend's roommate. So, and he's fine with no further contact. He's completely fine with to stay away from their location. He just does not understand why he has these kind of false allegations. He has been here in Georgia almost 20 years, ever since 2003. He has his sister, his brother, and his mother here, and his grandmother. He's a major caregiver for his grandmother, who cannot walk, who is disabled actually, and his biological sister is actually 7 years old, and so he's kind of like providing support for her as well. He has been gainfully employed as a Dollar General assistant manager for more than a year. He has graduated from high school. He has completed 3 years of college, communications and economics at Atlanta Metropolis State College. So, and he's not a danger to the society. There was a misunderstanding about failure to appear. However, that was already taken care of. Everything has been paid. There should not be any other issues that is outstanding at all. So we would like to request for a signature bond for him. Thank you.
On the simple battery, it's going to be $2,500. On the simple battery domestic violence, it's going to be $3,500. Total bond is $6,000. It's a signature bond through pretrial services. Mr. Pratt, you can sign up for your bond today, but you have to have no contact. I don't know where Ms. Baleku or Ms. Walton are presently, but you are to have no contact with Shadera Baleku and with Jacqueline Walton. You're to stay 200 yards away from them. You're not to contact them in person, through a third party, through any kind of phone or computer device, and definitely not on social media. You're to stay, if that place is already burnt down, well, then no reason for you to return. You need to stay away from the 1031 Creekside Way in Roswell, Georgia. Ms. Kim, does your client share any children with Ms. Baleku?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
He has no children of his own.
All right, so then there's no third-party transfer to engage in. His next court date, and what's his current address?
His current address is, let me write it down. 7206 Crestside Drive, Austell, Georgia. 301.
Crestside Drive?
Crestside.
Is that still a good mailing address?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so we will send him notice of when to show up in court. If he violates any of the conditions of the bond, especially the no contact, well, then He just needs to be back here with $6,000 in his pocket. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Quick announcement, Judge, position 7 has waived her appearance.
Who represents Felicia Mack?
Ms. Wanda?
Ms. Gant? Are we done with everybody? Okay, did your client waive her appearance?
I waived her appearance, Your Honor, and I am requesting a breakout to discuss this case.
All right, not a problem. Deputy Francois, do you have anybody else to address in courtroom 2?
No, we're completed here in courtroom 2, Judge.
All right, thank you very much.
All right.
I'm moving on to South Annex.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Deputy Milton. Who would you like to start with first?
Position 9, the Spanish interpreter.
Okay, thank you. We have Nancy Sanchez. All right, and Ms. Ada Lean, do you solemnly swear and affirm that the testimony you translate from English to Spanish and vice versa will be a true and accurate translation with no changes and embellishments?
I do, Your Honor.
All right. We are addressing the case of State versus Nancy Sanchez.
Estamos aquí en el caso de del Estado de la Fiscalía contra Nancy Sánchez.
Her case is 22 CR 001852B.
El caso es el 22 CR 001852B.
She has a right to remain silent. Anything she says about the facts of her case, her statements can and will be used against her. She has a right. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Tiene derecho a permanecer callada. Cualquier cosa que usted diga acerca de su caso se podrá usar y serán usados en su contra.
You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, Ms. J. Kim will be representing you.
Usted tiene derecho a tener un abogado. Si no puede contratar su propio abogado, señorita J. Kim va a ser la persona que la va a representar ahora, el abogado.
Okay, first, we're going to hear to see whether you have a criminal history record. So Mr. Toussaint's going to let us know.
Primero que nada, vamos a oír si usted tiene algunos antecedentes penales. Señorita Tuso nos va a dejar saber eso. May I remind everybody, please, to pause so I can interpret for Miss Nancy.
Mr. Toussaint?
Yes.
Any priors?
No.
No tiene
priors.
antecedentes penales.
All right, Ms. Mitchell, what's the recommendation from the state?
Señorita Mitchell, ¿cuál es la recomendación de la Fiscalía?
There's a current bond of $5,000 surety.
Hay una fianza de $5,000.
And the state requests that the bond be reduced to a $5,000 signature bond.
Y la Fiscalía pide que se reduzca esta fianza a una fianza bajo palabra de $5,000.
All right, the bond is going to, I'm sorry, what do you plan to do about the minor?
Along with conditions for a parenting class.
Buenas condiciones para que tenga que tomar clases de cómo ser un mejor padre, una mejor madre.
To follow any recommendations of DFACS.
Que tiene que seguir cualquier recomendación que le indique DFACS, el Departamento de Servicios de Familias y Menores.
And no alcohol, drugs, and weapons.
Y no puede usar ni alcohol, no puede ingerir alcohol, ni drogas, ni tener posesión de armas.
Any objection, Ms. Kim?
No, Your Honor. I just wanted to clarify that parenting class, can it be taken online and in Spanish?
It can be taken in, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Quiero aclarar si la clase la puede tomar en línea y que sea en español.
It can be taken in Spanish. I don't know whether they do it online or in person.
La puede tomar en español, pero no sé si la dan en línea o tiene que ir en persona.
And Your Honor, we request that it be through pretrial, if not already.
It is through pretrial.
Y que se haga a través de as an alternative, un programa alternativo.
No objection, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Sanchez, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No hay ninguna objeción. Señorita Sánchez, le va a dar la juez.
All right. Ms. Sanchez, you can be released without paying for your bond.
Señorita Sánchez, la pueden dejar en libertad sin tener que pagar la fianza.
But if you violate any of the conditions of your bond, you'll be back in jail, and next time you have to pay $5,000.
Pero si usted no cumple con las condiciones de la fianza, entonces lo van a traer de nuevo a la cárcel, entonces tendrá que pagar $5,000 para poder salir. Ahorita no tiene que pagar nada, pero si no cumple, sí tiene que pagar.
The conditions are to make sure we have a good address on you, so make sure you give us a good mailing address.
La condición, una de las condiciones es que tengamos una buena dirección suya y asegúrese que nos dé la dirección suya, que donde podamos mandarle el correo y comunicarnos con usted su dirección donde vive.
While you are out on bond, you are to take a parenting class qualified by pretrial services at your expense.
Usted cuando esté ahorita que está bajo libertad, bajo fianza, tiene que tomar una clase de cómo ser mejor madre que califique bajo el programa de prevención del programa alternativo y tiene que cubrir usted los costos de esta clase.
The class can be in person or virtually, but it must be done within the next 60 days.
La clase la puede hacer en persona o en línea, pero tiene que completarla en los próximos 60 días.
If defects, the Department of Family and Children's Services is involved in your case, you must follow whatever guidelines they set forth.
Si DFACS, el Departamento de Servicios de Familias y Menores, está implicado en su caso, tiene que trabajar con ellos y seguir todo lo que le manden a hacer, seguir las indicaciones del Departamento de DFACS.
And if you are driving your child or children to any location, they must always accompany you into the building.
Y si usted está manejando su hijo o sus hijos a cualquier sitio, tienen siempre que acompañarla a usted cuando usted se baje del carro, a cualquier sitio que usted vaya, no los puede dejar ahí.
Or you leave them with a qualified, competent babysitter.
O los puede dejar con una persona que sea competente para que los cuide, una niñera.
If you get arrested again, please remember it will be very expensive. It will be a $5,000 bond.
Y si la vuelven a arrestar, recuerde que va a ser algo bastante caro, va a ser una fianza de $5,000.
This is an open, active criminal case against you.
Este es un caso penal que está abierto en su contra.
Please remember to come back to court when summoned.
Y asegúrese de que regrese al tribunal, a la corte, cuando le indiquen y le den un citatorio para venir.
All right, thank you.
Ok, gracias.
Thank you, Your Honor.
5,000 signature bond.
Okay. May I be excused, Your Honor?
Yes, Ms. Lee. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Milton?
Yes, Your Honor, we have position number 4, Ms. Patricia Grier.
All right. Are these two cases related? They are,
Yes.
aren't they? That's
Yes,
right.
Your Honor.
Can we have, is it possible for you to bring Janacia and Patricia Gray
Yes, come on.
and stand behind the other? Thank you. Who is Janacia Grier? All right, the other one's Miss Patricia Grier. Patricia Grier, is that correct?
Patricia, Your
Okay.
Honor.
Patricia, okay. And Miss McLeod represents Patricia,
Yes, Your
and
Honor.
Miss Gant represents Janacia, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, ladies. My name is Judge Lal, and these, you both each have a active criminal case against you with a misdemeanor offense. Miss Janacia Grier, your case is 22 CR 001846H, and you are accused of 2 counts of simple battery from March 19 of 2022. Miss Patricia Grier, you have 1 count of simple battery from March 19, 2022. And with your case number is 22 CR 001847H. Miss Janacia, your attorney is Miss Wanda Gant. Miss Patricia, your attorney is Miss Maureen McLeod. Both of you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts of your case, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney. I've already identified your attorney for each of your cases. I'm going to ask our pretrial officer to give us a background on each of you, if one exists. Mr. Tucson, any priors on Miss Janacia? All right. Any priors on Miss Patricia? None?
First arrest for both.
First arrest for both. Okay. All right. Ms. Tortorella, would you like to tell us your recommendations for both of them?
Yes, Your Honor. For Miss let me see this one, Janacia Grier.
Mhm.
For the first count of simple battery, $3,000 surety bond, and the second count of simple battery, a $3,000 surety bond. The total is a $6,000 surety bond. And they both will have the same conditions. So for the Miss Patricia Grier, $3,000 surety bond for the simple battery. The conditions for both defendants is no contact with the victims. The juvenile for her initials is SW, and Miss Cheryl Reeves to stay 200 yards away from 550 Windsor Street, apartment 3 in Atlanta. A one-day anger management class, no weapons, no drugs or alcohol, no new violations of Georgia law. And Your Honor, I'm also asking for them to stay away from each other as their co-defendants in this case. Your Honor, we have concerns that these two defendants will intimidate the witnesses, the juvenile in the case, and also the grandmother. This occurred on March 19th, 2022. The Atlanta Police Department did respond to 550 Windsor Street Southwest in Atlanta. The defendant, Janacia Grier, and her co-defendant, Patricia Grier, walked up to the victim, SW, and punched her multiple times and pulled her hair. And to add, Miss Janacia Grier also pushed the juvenile's grandmother, victim Cheryl Reeves, which caused her pain as Ms. Reeves fell to the ground. Ms. Reeves was actually walks on a cane, Your Honor, and she had recently had back surgery, and the fall actually re-aggravated her pain and suffering. Your Honor, also, I would like to add that these defendants live next door to the victims in this case.
I figured that, okay.
Yes, and it's just a concern that they felt they had the authority to gang up on the victim, the juvenile victim, and then also push her grandmother. And it's evident that these defendants have a propensity to intimidate these victims and have a propensity for violence, Your Honor. And for this reason, I'm opposed to a signature bond. Nothing further from the state.
Thank you. Ms. Gant, is your client, Ms. McLeod, are they both sisters? What's the relationship?
They are sisters, Your Honor.
Okay, and one's, what is it, 17, one's 18?
Your Honor, my client, Miss Janacia Grier, is 19.
19, so the other one
My
is...
client is 18, Your Honor.
Okay. And with whom do they live?
They live with their mom.
Name? Mom's name?
Wanda
Mom's
Powell.
name? Wanda?
Wanda Powell.
Powell.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Okay. Well, I don't know what went down in Windsor Court, but this is what's going to happen, Miss Sisters Grier. When things like that happen and there's probable cause and warrants are issued against you, you're going to put your lifestyles in the hands of the court. And if you don't agree with that, well, all I can say is, you decide whether you have enough money to be released on bond or whether you do not. I have no reason to give you a signature bond, given the nature of these allegations. But I will give you an opportunity to prove whether you can comply with the order of the court, even if you can't listen and exercise some discretion. With regards to Ms. Janacia Grier, the bond is going to be set at $7,500 on each count. That's going to be a $15,000 signature bond to pretrial services. Mama Wanda Powell will need to come and co-sign the bond. She needs to bring her government issue ID and a utility bill in which the utility bill matches the property to her ID. In other words, if she is the payee on the utility bill, that utility bill must have her name and the residence must match that Windsor Court apartment 2. If we don't have the utility bill or a government issue ID, then Ms. Janacia Grier will stay in jail until we get the appropriate documents from from Mother Wanda Powell. With regards to Patricia, let's correct her name on Odyssey. It's P-R-A.
I think it's P-A-T-R-I-C-I-A.
P-A-T-R-I-A-C-I-A. Okay. So Patricia Grier, that's going to be $7,500. That's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. Also need a co-signer, Miss Wanda Powell, with the same requirements. I'm not waiving anything. I need a government issue ID and a utility bill from Mama Powell in order to release both these ladies on their bond.
Your Honor,
Yes, Ms. McLeod?
I was going to say, my understanding was that Mom may still be in hospital. My understanding was that Mom was in hospital.
All right. Is there another adult relative or guardian who lives in that same property? Has to be at the same property because these two women can't manage themselves.
Your Honor, she's home.
Oh, she's home now. Mom is home now. Okay. I thought
All
Mom
right.
was still in the hospital.
That's fine, as long as Mom can come. As soon as Mom co-signs the bond, and it's entirely up to Mom. If Mom decides she doesn't want to co-sign the bond, that's entirely up to her. But it's up to Mom to decide. All right. So given these bond amounts, you are subject to a curfew. You're going to be at home from 6 p.m. to 7 a.m. You're not allowed outdoors after 6 p.m. and you remain in there until 7 a.m. You can come out of your curfew in order to go to school, to attend church, to go to work, or to seek medical services. These are the only reasons you're allowed to come out of your house. You understand? You are to have no contact with your neighbors, Miss, was it Cheryl Reeves? No contact whatsoever. You're to stay away from her. You're not to speak to her. You're not to be in front of her in person. You're not to contact her through a third party, nor through any kind of phone or computer device, nor through any social media. And that applies to both of you. You're not, the same thing goes for the victim identified as SW, which is a person living with Cheryl Reeves. If you violate any of these conditions in terms of contacting or communicating with the victims or discussing them on social media, all they have to do is contact victim advocates and you're back in jail. And Miss Janacia with a $15,000 good bond and Miss Patricia with a $7,500 good bond. So you both decide whether you have enough money in your piggy bank to risk violating any of the conditions of your bond. Do you understand? No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons and no firearms. You report to pretrial once a month, both of you. You can both live together in the same house. I can't put the both of you out, but you decide whether you like it, if you like being back in jail or whether you want to comply with these conditions. This curfew, this stay away, this no contact, all will remain in place until further order of the court. Ms. Gatt, do you have any questions for your client's bond?
Yes, Your Honor. Regarding the stay away, my Ms. Grier informs me that that is her mother's residence and that she lives there with her mother. She doesn't have an alternate residence, Your Honor.
I don't think the court said they had to stay away from the house.
They don't stay away from their mother's house. They just stay away from the neighbor's house.
Stay away from the neighbor's house. And okay, thank you for the clarification.
Okay.
And Your Honor.
Just to make y'all understand that. If the neighbor is outside, Sisters Grier have to go back inside. If Sisters Grier want to step outside to pick up the mail, to clean the driveway, to walk their dog, or to drive out of their location in order to go somewhere else, they cannot stop and linger and stare. They cannot do any of that stuff. They need to make sure that they don't stop, they don't linger. Either they go out and get the mail and go right back in, or that's it. But if SW or Cheryl Reeves are outside, they are not allowed to be outside. That's what the stay away means. All right. If I put a no further contact, they have to stay 200 yards away, and I don't know if that's realistic.
And Your Honor, also regarding the cosigner requirement, my client is 19 and is gainfully employed, has been so for the last 1.5 years at McDonald's full-time.
Okay. If she wants to continue living in Windsor Court Apartment 2, she needs to have the cosigner of her mother who lives in that place. If she doesn't want the cosigner, she has to relocate to a different location more than 200 yards away from the victim's location. Which one would she like?
Ms. Grier, would you like to continue living with your mother? Okay.
And I need the cosigner.
Yes. So we will comply with the court's ruling, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. McLeod, we do good?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So as long as they change addresses, they need to make sure they let the court know, and their next court date will be sent to them via mail in the court. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, will you impose a one-day anger management class for these girls, or?
It's not domestic violence. I'm not going to do these issues. All right. Deputy
you.
Milton, did you have a question?
Yes, you kept saying good bond and signature bond for position number 3.
Oh, no, it's they both have signature bonds through pretrial. If they violate the conditions of the bond, it converts to a good bond.
Copy that. All right, thank you so much, Your Honor. Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Be safe. Bye-bye. All right, I think we have concluded with the calendar, so let me go over it. So, do we have another case?
Your Honor, we still have the breakout position.
Oh, that's
setting.
right. Sorry about that. Okay. Let me just go over the calendar, then we'll go into the breakout, okay?
Understood.
Position 1 is a 3,000 signature bond through pretrial. Further noticed, Mr. Dama is a 2,500 signature bond through pretrial. Further notice. When I say further notice, I mean they'll get a court date for the next P&A calendar. Position 3 and 4 was signature bonds through pretrial and further notice. Position 5, Victor Hutchins is a 7,500 surety bond. Reset date April 14. 6, Jacoby is a 2,500 surety bond. Reset date April 14. Felicia Mack is going to go into a breakout. Alex Pratt is a 6,000 signature bond. Reset date further notice. And Nancy Sanchez is a $5,000 signature bond. And we will send her notice for court date. Okay.
Your Honor, I have a question on Janicia Grier. Was her bond $15,000 signature?
7,500 on each count.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
What solicitor needs to be in the?
I'm sorry, Ms. Lewis, what was that?
Which solicitor needs to be in the breakout room?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Your Honor, that's going to be Miss Mitchell, myself, and we have 2 new attorneys with us, Miss Bacchus and Aaliyah SQ, Miss Harmon. So if they could join also, I think this would be helpful for them going forward since they will be handling SEA next week.
May I please join as well so I can learn as well?
All right.
The individual with the iPhone, were you here on behalf as a witness or a victim in the case? You never indicated who you are. Judge, you're mute.
Nobody can lip read. Okay. As I was saying, we've concluded with our calendar and we are going to reset Ms. Phyllis Mack's case to April 14th, the 11 a.m. calendar, and she's got a $6,000 surety bond. Thank you, everyone. Y'all be safe. Take care.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good